successful to build a life you want, you probably figure out your why.
You were born in 12th of December 1939, and you grew up as a kampung boy in Melaka under the Japanese occupation. So what were your most memorable moments from your childhood?
Oh my God, the most memorable moment. I was an orphan at the age of 1. My father passed away, only my mother. And my mother slogged to death to feed the 3 children that she had. I used to accompany her wherever she goes, paddy planting and all this and so on. So the most memorable one was we had a coconut plantation. She wants me to climb the coconut trees and release, people take tuak. They tie the shoot there to release all those being tied. So I climbed, I think, over 30 trees when I was only about 6 years old. So that was quite a memorable moment as far as I'm concerned. Not only that, foraging food in a mangrove swamp almost daily to feed the family was another moment that I can never, ever forget.
You used to try and catch king crab as well.
King crab, snails and all those that we could find from the mangrove swamp. Another moment was my mother used to ask me to go and sell nasi lemak. I used to carry about 10 bungkus nasi lemak from a basket, go to the riverside, sell it to the fishermen. And 1 cent a bungkus, So I'd carry back 10 cents per day. Those are the moments that I can never forget, assisting my mother when I was young. I used to follow my brother to school during the Japanese time. And I used to sit on the floor beside him and seeing the daily ritual during Japanese time was quite memorable. Arriving there in the morning, face the sun, sing Japanese song, raise up the Japanese flag, and so on and so forth. I learned kanji at the age of 6. E, U, E, U, Ba, Bi, Bu, Be, Bu. This is Japanese kanji, So I can never forget that. The Japanese almost took me away to Japan.
Why?
Because they take young boys to Japan, adopt them there, and then later send them back to be their men, looking for them. So I managed to escape. My uncle hid me somewhere.
Your brother actually told them that you had died, right?
Exactly. So those are the moments that I will forget. Okay?
And weren't you around 8 when your uncle in Kelantan adopted you? How did that happen?
When I went to school, the first term, I did very well in school. I taught the class. So my mother wanted to give me a better education. So she asked my uncle to take me to Moore to go to the English school in Moore. So my uncle from Moore took me to Moore. Another uncle of mine, a policeman in Kelantan, came back and saw this. Took me from this uncle to Kelantan. That's how I landed in Kelantan. You can imagine, you go to Kelantan, you don't understand Kelantanese language. Totally different slang, different lingo altogether.
And even the food was different, right? That you talked about this thing called budu, which you liked, and then you found out.
No. Let's not talk about budu. This is a Kelantan favorite sauce, I don't like it. I don't like even the smell of budu. Okay, let's not talk about budu.
Let's not. You ended up running away from your home in Kelantan to enroll in the boys' company, and your uncle didn't want you to do that. What was it? Why did you do that?
When there were people from the military college came over asking for people who want to join the boys' company at that time. I wanted to go. My uncle never allowed it because being a policeman, police and military were always at animosity. They are never in good terms. So my uncle will never ever accept me joining the military, no matter what. He said, I'm not going to join the military. That's the school there. One of my teachers, Muhammad, explained to him that he is going to learn there, study there, not going to join the armed forces. So that's how I managed to run away from Kelantan and join the boys' company at the age of 13, enrolled in Form 2 and in the Royal Military College for the next 6 years there.
What was it like there? I mean, you were so young and you spent so long at the boys' company.
I like the discipline life. I like the teachers, particularly the teachers were mostly English, British. There was only one Malay teacher, one Indian teacher, one Chinese teacher, Mr. Pong Ayong was my biology teacher. The rest were all English. They were very good teachers, actually. When we took up our examination, they called it senior Cambridge Sekarang SPM, I did quite well as senior Cambridge. So it was a really good British system. Because I like being there.
Didn't they teach you the military routine as well?
Yes, yes. Military training, almost weekly. We prayed, shooting, all part of military training is all inculcated into you. So it keeps you fit, from morning until you go to bed, you sleep at 10 o'clock.
And you loved the life? Were you doing that and thinking, I want to join the military?
Well, it was partly, yes. Why not? I like it. I saw what the future is like. We read books about military and I like the military life. Yes. Any more question?
I read that you swam from Pulau Pangkal Laut to Pulau Pangkor.
Oh my God. How? You remember what I wrote in my book, huh?
I did. Tell me about it, because I've been to both sides. It's quite far.
One day, a friend of mine, the late Arif Awang, he joined the Air Force. He was an aeronautical engineer. We decided to swim across to Pulau Pangkor from Pulau Pangkor Laut, which is quite far actually, not realizing the current. So we started swimming at 8 o'clock. After 1 hour swimming, Arif was drifted away. I couldn't see him anymore. So I kept on swimming for a good 8 hours. 8 hours and I reached Pangkor Laut, Pulau Pangkor. So on arriving there, a group of fishermen really scolded me. They said, "You stupid," all sorts of words being used because this is a dangerous place. You see people being eaten by sharks. The Portuguese pen of war, all those dangerous things. Why the hell did you swim? Oh my God. I didn't know about all this. So I swam across.
It sounds like you don't regret doing it though.
No, I like swimming. I swam. I also swam from Singapore to Johor. That was another feat of swimming.
What was that like? Was it harder to swim from Singapore to Johor?
Well, Singapore was a challenge, actually. One day we had a session on the British aircraft carrier HMS Bulwark, actually, at a Japanese slipway. So the British Marine challenged us if we could swim across the strait. Okay, we took the challenge. So in uniform, we jumped down from the deck, 30 to 40 feet down. We swam. The British Marine jumped down, but they didn't swim. We swam right across. It took us about 4 hours to reach the home in uniform. So we did it. So we proved to them that we could do better than we can do. Before this, they said the Malaysian can never become a commando. So we really proved to them that we can do better. That surprised them, actually.
So after you did that, they never said it again.
No.
Leave it.
No. Lagi apa question? Banyak question ni.
So I wanted to go back to boys' company, right? I read that you almost studied medicine, but then you ended up joining the cadet wing instead. How did that happen?
Oh my God. During the final interview, Board of Governors interviews, Tan Si Kade was the chairman. He said, "You offer the scholarship to go and take up medicine in Glasgow, Scotland. I cannot accept the offer. I can't, I said, because I've got no parents left to go and study overseas. You still need parental care. Maybe you need 10 ringgit a month or 15 ringgit a month to buy toothbrush. Nobody is there around to support me. So then you get out from the hall, make up your mind." I've head out. The director of studies was Mr. Warwick at that time. Came up from the rear door. Came to me saying, "You boy, look, I took the trouble to recommend you. You bloody are going back there and say, yes, you understand." I said, "Yes, sir." I went back in again and said, "Well, have you made up your mind?" I said, "Yes." "No, sir, I cannot accept the offer." "Oh my God." "Okay, you join the army. We send you to Sandhurst. After 2 years, we send you to university, take up engineering." So I'm not going to go in the engineer course, sir. "Why not?" "The highest rank in the course, only a colonel, sir." "Oh, you want to be a general?" "No, sir. I know, sir. It's not that's the point. I don't want to be an engineer course, sir. I want to be a combatant. Send you to the infantry, go to cadet wing. That's how I ended cadet wing. Next 2 years, I became officer. That's how I joined the army.
It sounds like even when you were young, you knew exactly what you wanted and you weren't afraid to tell people, right? Even when your superior said, "No, you're crazy."
Nobody advised me what to do for life, whether to go into the army or engineer, whatever it is. Nobody had ever mentioned about a future. So this is all preordained in life because accidental like that I joined the military. I like it. I like being in uniform. So it is accidental, but I like it.
What was it like? So you joined the Royal Malay Regiment, 4RMR, in 1959, and you said it transformed you into a professional soldier. What was it like?
Oh, for Ramley was a Bazooka battalion, actually. It is highly disciplined. You're taught from A to Z to be a good officer. Very highly disciplined. That's how you learn to become a very highly disciplined officer. And the officer's study period is a weekly affair. They make you read and read and read and read books, military history, and so on and so forth. That's how they make an officer out of you. They make you an officer who is knowledgeable. That's how they build you up. This is for really how good it was. The system is what we learned from the British legacy,
You said you read a lot. Were there certain things you don't mind sharing that you learned that really changed the way that you thought of military life and being a good officer?
I can tell you I've read almost all military history books, all the campaigns, from the SLE, the Gallipoli campaigns, the latest war in Iraq, Falkland War, and so on and so forth. I read all those books. So I know what was good, what was bad. I learned history, I learned strategies. To me, reading is good. I don't read. Okay, another question.
You said you read a lot of strategy. I just wanted to drill down because I find it so interesting. Was there a particular military strategist that you really admired and why?
Oh my God, the Falkland. The strategy was the question of where the British ended up. And small ship versus big ships. How the British did it, the gathering of intelligence by the special forces, by the SAS and by the commandos prior to sending the infantry, the Gurkha battalions to the Falkland. They went right into the heart of Argentina. And then they used a torpedo to hit big ship. The torpedo has to hit the Argentina vessel called General Belgrano, drowned in 350 men down with it. One small torpedo. And from there, the British learned that it is better to have smaller ship to fight against big ship. This is strategy they learned from the Falkland War. Over here, people may have big ship, but what we need is a smaller ship, torpedo ship. Very fast torpedo ship. They can go at 30, 40, 50 knots with torpedoes. I think this strategy should be adopted by our country. Instead of people buy a big ship, you also must buy a big ship. Let them have big ship. We have smaller ship, but hard-hitting ship. This is the best strategy that I've learned from the military history that I've read. There are many others on land battle, defeat into victory by Sir William Sleep against the Japanese in the Burma those days. Also, another good strategy, how they did against the Japanese during the Japanese War too, when we learn about the biggest naval battle ever fought in the Leyte Gulf in the Philippines. Another good strategy employed by the Allied forces, US Army. But I'm not going to follow the strategy of bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki. For them, that may be a good strategy, but killing millions of innocent people is something that should look into at all. Okay. To them, 2 bombs and the bloody war. One Nagasaki, one Hiroshima. So what? Is it a good strategy? To them, it's a good strategy. To me, it's killing strategy.
Do you ever find yourself struggling with the idea of killing another person? Because that was what you were trained and paid to do, right?
Killing another person?
Yeah, was that something you ever struggled with?
Killing another person, your enemy, is a matter of life and death. Your profession is to eliminate your enemy. How you do it is a different matter. If you have someone who wants to kill you, what do?
Yeah, you definitely fight back.
Yes, you fight back. That's what killing is all about. Okay?
Were you ever afraid? Because I read that you were never afraid of death. And I wonder, was that from the start or did you learn to not be?
To me, life and death is all in God's hand. And as far as I'm concerned, it's only God will determine when you die, how you die. So what is there to be afraid of? I was once asked by somebody, are you afraid of death? I said, sir, you shouldn't be afraid of death too, because your lives are all there. It's written when you will die, how you will die. You will know how, but you will die one day. So what is there to be afraid of? I've jumped the skies, the night skies, the day skies, all over. I should have died. I could have died when one day my parachute didn't open. I landed in Buffalo, somewhere in the paddy field.
It was like 5 feet deep, right? And then you went straight up
Yeah,
again.
I should have died. Well, God said, you're not fated to die on that day. So I'm still alive.
Do you feel like a strategy to overcome fear based on that story? Because I read you fell into that buffalo lake and then
Yeah.
you went straight up again and then you still had an issue and you almost got electrocuted.
Yes, just to kill your fear. You do it again. You made a mistake. Free jump and pack parachute in the paddy field, this and that, properly back. So you jump again and again. So I said, just to kill the fear, I packed the chute properly this time. Jump higher. Okay, no problem. So that's killed my fear.
I read that a philosophy while you were going back at 4RMM is that be cruel in order to be kind. What does that actually mean? How do you apply that?
This is a motto that I used when I was an instructor in the cadet wing, actually. I told the cadets that I'm going to be cruel to you in order to be kind. Kind to the government, kind to the army, giving a good army officer, good leader. If I were to commission poor fellow, poor leader, I'm not kind, not being kind to the government. Guess what I mean? So I told every one of them, look, I'm going to be cruel to you in order to be kind. Cruel to you in the sense I'm going to train you, I'm going to mold you, I'm going to make a good officer out of you so that pass over good officer.
You said good officer quite a few times. How do you define a good officer? What makes a good officer?
Is he knowledgeable? If he's not knowledgeable, if he cannot take whatever is being taught to him, he's not a really good officer. And dependable or not. Is he trustworthy or not? So this is what we look at. People who are very slow learner what to do. They cannot take up instruction properly. To be a good officer, you got to be mentally and physically fit. Some are mentally fit but physically not fit. Some are physically fit, mentally not fit. These are the things that we look into an officer.
You said they need to be able to learn and be educated, right? How do you find that line between learning and following orders, but also knowing when to push back? Because your seniors probably aren't always right.
When I was teaching, I did the weekly test, for instance, to pass the test, whether they've learned what I've taught them last week, see whether they pick up or not. From there, I can judge. And then I tell them in the field whether they can do it, whether they can command. If a man cannot command a section in the field, he's not fit to be commissioned as an officer. If he can command a section in a platoon, then he can be commissioned. But once commissioned, he's going to command a platoon when he goes to the unit. So if he cannot command at that level, sorry, no way. Okay?
And in the 1960s, you were deployed to Congo as part of the 1st Malayan Special Forces. What was it like? Anything that stood out for you? It sounds like there was a lot of memorable incidences there.
It's the Congo. Oh my God, what do I say at the Congo? First, when we arrived at the Congo, we were put into a camp called Luzon camp. I was duty officer for the past 30 days already. They don't change duty officer. I was duty officer and the chief for 28 days. And then they don't change duty officer. I continued to be duty officer until we reached Congo. And then we went to a camp called Luzon camp. The other officers were all busy. I was the only duty officer with the medic. The Congress came with the armored vehicles to the door, telling us to get out of the camp. I said, no. I had only my pistol and they had big guns. I stood my ground, shouted, telling us to get out. I told the men to get ready, bring out a weapon called Bazooka. We got no pluru at the moment, it hadn't arrived yet. So just aim at them. So I told the Congress, if you shoot at me, they shoot at you. So they bolted away. It saved Luzon camp from being taken back by the Congress. That is the first day of my arrival in the Congo. And I was asked to look after the man elected to be the Prime Minister, but was never made the Prime Minister because he was put in prison. After a few weeks, they were to take him into the boat upstream. So I escort him to the boat upstream. To my horror, they found out he was slaughtered. 2 days later, he was cut to pieces by these people. So British Lumumba made his fate. There were many incidents in the Congo that you can never forget. You can read from my book. How I saved the Belgian from the prison. They were looking for 2 Belgians from the mines missing lost. So I discovered They were kept in prison inside the camp. I told the people, these people were there. No way you can take them. So, apart from stealing them. So, plan, cram the tree into the roof, open the roof, lower the roof, took them out. That's it. Cover back. The next day I went back to the camp and then they were shouting here and there. 2 prisoners gone. Doors locked, but how they got out, they don't know. I was also saying, I was surprised. Sure, I was the liaison officer. I could speak both languages, Swahili and French. Till then, oh my God, something's wrong somewhere. I don't know. Some people will take to task after that, for sure. The guard commander was taken to task. Oh my God, I saved another officer, a civil Reiki regiment that came down to visit. They went to Kindu and he was caught by the Congolese. Normally, before that, they would caught Italian pilot and cruiser, and cut them to pieces at the market. And this officer was about to be done too. I was quickly told to went there, save this officer. Colonel Nixon wasn't there. If I didn't save him, he would have been really slaughtered. Eaten, perhaps. Eaten. Officer never given order. A corporal has a say, sergeant has a say, everybody has a say. That's it.
After Congo, you came back to Malaysia, and there was this thing called the confrontation or undeclared war. And I wonder for people who don't know what that is, what was it, Ali?
When we get independence in 1957, there was moves to get Sarawak and Sabah together and then Malaysia into Malaysia. Our friend down south didn't like it. They did plan Indonesia Raya since 1945 to unify Indonesia, including Malaya, Borneo, into big Indonesia. This is part of Sukarno's plan. So Sukarno had a talk with President Philippines. He disagreed that we form. So we sent fact-finding mission into Sabah and Sarawak and asked the people whether they like to join Malaysia. Yes, they like. So we see the wishes of the people. Sukarno doesn't like it. So he started giving us trouble. The first trouble was the harassment of our police station in Tabadu on 2nd April 1963.
There were like 30 Indonesian raiders, right?
Yes. And they went into the 2nd division, the 3rd division, and even in West Malaysia. So a lot of landing all over the places. So this war was undeclared. You know why undeclared? If war is declared, then the world will think that it is a war between 2 nations. Others will not come to support. Just like us, for instance, we buy, let's say, some weapon system from Italy. Come war, Italy will not supply because they remain neutral. That's why they don't declare so that they can continue to buy weapon system from all over the places. That's why the war is undeclared. So we fought the undeclared war from 1963 to 1966.
And wasn't this the reason why the Malaysian Special Service Unit started?
Oh, because confrontation was getting bigger and bigger. The British, the Marine Commandos and the British SCS was overstretched. They can really take all this burden by themselves. So they came up with a suggestion that we should also form commando to assist. This idea came way back in December 1965. So late Tun Razak accepted it. We got orders in January 1965 to form the commando. We called for volunteers. Some 1,500 volunteered for service in the commando, including your good self.
It's not easy to get in, right? 350 out of 1,500.
Yes, 350 out of 1,500 was selected to undergo the commando course run by the British in Johor. Batch by batch, 50 at a time went there. I could not go during the first one because I was still instructing cadet at the college. So the commander said, you can only go after passing out of this intake 6 of the short service. So I only went after the intake 6 was passed out. And I went there to join the commando. So we formed up the commando in 1965. So we assisted the British and we finally took over all the role, all the job when they left. Okay? It was the aim that they want to pass over the job to us because they can't go back. Why should they be bothered about you anymore? Therefore, take care of yourself. Okay? Lagi?
What makes a commando? Like, what are the main characteristics of a commando?
Oh my God. First, you must have an aim in mind. What's your aim in mind? My aim was to be the best fighter. So you learn other techniques and tactics of fighting from the infantry, the commando training, which is quite different. So if you want to be good, you learn more. So I wanted to learn more. Secondly, you got to be physically fit and mentally fit. That's why only 10 to 15% pass every commando course. Out of 50, only 10% pass. But these are the best. You're physically and mentally fit.
I wonder why was it that, these people would want to become a commander because it took so much effort and it was really hard. So what was the motivation, the driver?
Oh, people admire you. If you're beautiful, people admire you. Betul or not? Huh? If you're strong, people admire you. Another one is you want to do a job. A job is to go for the enemy. And to beat the enemy, you got to be a better enemy. You got to better train. That's why we want to join the commando.
What was your toughest operation that you've been on?
Oh my God. Every operation is a tough operation for me. Otherwise, we will not get involved. The first one, perhaps, was when one day I was called by the Defense Minister, Lit Tun Razak. He wants to know where is Chimpek, the head of the communist. So I went out there and told the army chief what the minister wants. He too was surprised. How the so what I'll do is I'll go into Perak area, spread out from Clinton border to Kedah border. We swept the jungle. We took 1 month ration to last 3 months in the jungle. Whatever we found, we ate. If you were to ask me what have I not eaten, only men have not eaten. So to survive, you got to eat. You got to eat steak. You got to eat monkeys, everything. So that border area, we heard what was across the border. They were having conference using Honda generator. You can hear from our border area. So there was one very tough operation. I'm not going to go beyond that.
And that wasn't even in Malaysia, right?
Yes. That is, the tough operation was enemy landed in Studong Laut. You know where Studong Laut is?
It's in Sabah, right?
In Sabah area. Wave call in. I landed the Tawau. They was told, go and find the enemy and give them hell. 300 of them. So we went in down by helicopter, jumped to the swarm area. There, after 2 hours, we found that track, landed. We followed that track all the way to the river.
And there were only 33 of you, right?
But 300 enemies. It was very tough. And the second highest mountain in Sabah, Gunung Talipat. The higher you go, the more bloody leeches followed you. Oh my God. The way to survive is salt. You just rub your body with salt. It don't come to you. Otherwise, oh my God. Despite all those, you'll find one leash here in the morning, one stare in the shirt as big as your toe, You haven't sucked your blood. And then to welcome you, there's crocodiles. Crocodiles all over the river in Kalbakan River. So the enemy could not cross the river because there is no way of crossing the river to hit our ranger company in Kalabakan. So they went back to Kalimantan Barat. So we come back to cross there. I found a Kalabit village. So they got this boat who can take 1 man each time across the river. So we used the boats 33 times managed to cross the river. Give them whatever you have. They were very happy to get some big robbers. That was a very, very tough operation. Walking about almost 3 months. Can you imagine walking from day to day, morning to evening for 3 months in the jungle. I know whether you can do it or not. I can say it's bloody tough. Okay. Lagi.
You mentioned the person that was shot in the head. Was that the third son? Because I read that there was father whose first and second son, and also the third son served under you. And they unfortunately, passed away under service. How do you deal with loss? Because that's quite frequent, right? That's part of the job. How do you deal with that?
Until today, I will never ever forget. It was one commando, he died in the commando. So when we sent him for burial in Batu Pahat, Johor, the father whispered to me, said, I've got another son who wants to join the commando. I said, no, please, you have one who passed away in the commando, please don't send another one. He sent one, that's man also, died in operation. So I was sent for burial in Batu Pahat, and the father whispered to me, I've got another son. I said, please, you got 2 already that passed away in my head. Oh my God, I said, please don't. I later found out the third son also joined the commando. There was a military regiment was ambushed in Sarawak. We sent a troop to do the follow-up. He too was shot in the head. Third son came back, buried. This time I asked the father, have you got another son? No more, I've got no more son. Only daughters. I don't accept daughters. 3 brothers died in the command. How can you forget? These are the men that we trained so hard, but they're fated to die in battle.
How do you cope with such loss?
I think it's saying that this is all part of life. You could accept it. It was the father's wishes that all the sons must die in the commando. I can never forget the father. I can never forget the father's name. Okay, any more question? This is a very touching question you asked.
I wanted to jump to your time as a defense attaché in South Vietnam. This was in 1974-75. So you were there during the Vietnam War. Tell us what it was like.
I was born after my Special Forces Officers course in Fort Bragg in North Carolina. We were bombed a whole night there. Not when I was an attaché, no. We were bombed the whole plane load of some 28 aircraft destroyed in the airport. One whole night, the Vietcong hit the airport with mortar fire. That was in 1975 as a she.
What was it like when you were there as an attaché?
Well, Vietnam was at war. The third offensive began when I arrived. They briefed me, they say, this is normal yearly occurrence. They hit you here and there. People were missing and so on and so forth. So I didn't quite believe it. Being army trained, I had a lot of friends in Vietnam because we met in Fort Bragg together. They were attending a lot of courses. I know them. I even know the commander of the 1st Airborne Division who was there in Fort Bragg. I met all these people. They probably say, Borhan, is it going to be a very bad year? You better be prepared for it. So there was one thing I found out. And people were deserting by the hundreds. I questioned some of these people who deserted. Why deserted? I said, sir, in Vietnam, corruption is so rampant that you can afford to pay them in gold. You serve in the rear, you serve in front. Every day can hear 200-300 people missing in action. It happened every year. I got words from all these people. And then people from other embassies were sending their family away on holiday, but they never returned. It was thinning out. So I told our people, look, we should also start thin out and send our family home. Oh, they don't listen to me. One day, I told my family, look, I'm going to send you home tomorrow. So I told the staff there. Some of them also joined the bandwagon. I met them at the airport, and they were sending their family home. Oh, they were attacking even the Doglap Palace. We stayed very close to Doglap Palace. My children, the 2 children, saw the aircraft bombing. They were clapping their hands, thinking it was just another firework or something like that. Oh my God. That was the day a friend of mine came with a bag full of gold. Hey, Borhan, please take my 2 children away with you. I said, look, I'm not sure of getting out myself out there. When are you going to see some people from the American embassy or something like that? So he ran away. He actually offered me 30 bucks, gold. Can you imagine? Take the 2 children away with it. That was a really bad situation. I was able to make a true assessment of what was happening. And I come to the conclusion, we got to live by group. I'm sending my family home. Just 5 of us left. The rest all went home. We're running from place to place, hiding from place to place. Until the day we tried to contact our people, all the British who said they would help us out together with the aircraft. They left without telling us. When I went to the embassy, I saw only the Gurkhas there. They sent the Gurkhas from Hong Kong to look after the embassy. The rest all left. I went to see the Airborne Division. They were in control of Saigon to go to the airport to get contact our aircraft. Managed to contact from our aircraft, from our people from Jakarta. They can't contact direct. Aircraft going to Saigon was shot down. My God, I pray, please don't shoot down our aircraft. I gave the last few dollars to the air controller there. Here's the money that I have. Please, this is the code word. So the code word, so the aircraft came, we landed. Person gave me $10,000 to buy petrol. I said, no more petrol here. Oh my God. So we waited After some aircraft landed, burned the FAA, we managed to clear, and then we managed to go up. I say, you just fly low, don't fly high. Fly high, you got shot by missile. Enemy got seven missile, you can shoot aircraft. You fly very low, all the way until you reach the sea. You reach the sea, flew all the way back. Halfway, tak cukup petrol, tak cukup minyak. Have fuel problem. Red sign, Oh my, prepare for water landing. All kind of problem. Somehow the God is kind. We managed to reach Kota Baru. Just enough petrol to reach. That's how we save ourselves.
You heard a lot of stories coming out right after you left. You were asking your friends what happened. You had this friend you used to know who stood his ground against a tank and used a bazooka against them.
The tank. This is when I left. A lot of activists read by boat, landed in island Pulau Bidung and pulau-pulau in Terengganu there. So I could have to go there and meet some of them. I met two officers who escaped. Now how the airborne commander died. He said he was the man manning the road. He was having a bazooka, the anti-tank weapon. The tank came after him, he shot the tank. The tank rolled over him, he died. There was the airborne commander himself. North Vietnamese. Can you imagine that? Your enemy award you with a Military Medal. He's a good friend of mine, Colonel Trong, in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. We played golf together. He paid Vietnamese airborne wing on me, jumping together in Vietnam, where he passed away. That's the way he wanted to die, but he died. He died as an officer.
So you were a Green Beret for 15 years of service life, and then you hung up. Was it hard for you to give up being Green Beret?
It's not hard because I was sent to attend National Defense course in India. After I came back, I was made the defense planning officer. And after a year on the job, I was promoted to Major General. There's no post in the commando. If there is a post in commando, I would love to go back to the commandos. Leaving a unit that you raise from a piece of paper to the special service group, you're losing a family. I've lost a family, but I treat them as my relative. We are still friends. They treat me just like a father. They call me Bapa Commando. So, I miss them. Every time I go in there, I saw what I left. I saw my old house where I used to stay in the mess, where I used to run off the study period on a weekly basis. You live in a house, just like you. When you get old, you leave your parent, leave your mother and father, but you still love them, okay?
What do you miss the most?
I miss joining them with various sports, like free fall competition. I miss the most is fishing trip with them. We used to take a boat and go out, spend the night fishing. I came back with a lot of fish. All those people used to come, okay, take the fish. We have taken our share, about 5 or 6 fish each to go. Yang lain you can take. We caught a lot of fish. That's what I wish, sharing life with the families there. Every family in the commando, I used to visit them, knowing them, their family just like my own family. And I was commanding officer, every wife of the men, every one of them, where they come from, how many children they have. This is what I mean, just like my own family, okay?
To your family's credit, it's not an easy life for them as well. When you move, they also move, right? And it's a very simple life.
It's a very simple life. That's how we live. Well, anyway, I don't know how they are today, but they are quite different to the different people, different special style. My leadership style is quite different.
How would you describe your leadership style?
My style is very simple. Ask yourself, why you love your mother most? Because she take care of you from the day you were born, brought you up. If you want your men to love you, you take care of them. So that's why I took care of the men. I look after their welfare, provide them with a good living in a good working condition. I give them the best of training, make them a real good man, good soldier, and of course, lead them well by example.
What do you think differentiates a good leader from a great leader?
A great leader must be a good leader, okay? We are no good. You cannot be a great leader, okay? Betul tak? You got to be good. You got to be good to be a great leader. You
Yeah.
cannot be a great leader if you are bad.
Was there any person you met that was the greatest leader that you've ever met? And why was he so great to you?
The great leader that I've ever met. The one man that I can never forget, my mentor, is the late Ghazali Chapman, the PGB holder, the fighter, the brave man, honest man who stopped me from leaving the armed forces. If I had left the armed forces, I would be a fisherman. I wanted to be a fisherman because I was sick and tired of certain characters. I got kicked here and there. So it's time that I say goodbye until I met this bloody man. You will not live. Brought me to his office. Here's one bungo nasi lemak. You take half, I take half. Man, he's a 3-star man, you know. I was only a colonel. I admire him.
There was the late General Tunku Osman, right, who said, "Don't be afraid to say no when you want to right."
Because one day at a meeting, he chased me out from the meeting by the uniform. They had tried out so many uniforms, A, B, C, D. I recommend D because D is good, strong. Only the cost per yard is 4 ringgit. A is only 80 cents per yard. He chose A, 80 cents per yard. I said, this will last only 3 days in the jungle. After you get torn to pieces. Get out. I was kicked out. One day before I retired, he was officiating the opening of the new camp that I built, Camp Batang Karahit Production. Well, at that ceremony, he whispered to me, Borhan, he said, don't be afraid to say no when you are in the right. You remember? Yes, sir, I remember that. So I stick to this advice, don't be afraid to say no. For sticking to that advice, I suffered many repercussions. A lot of unbelievable things happened. When you should be promoted, you are not promoted. You got kicked from A to B. You asked to do this and that. I was asked to do a lot of things, but I did very well. He asked to do some, but he got kicked out until had a letter of resignation. The repercussion of sticking to the advice given by the Gosman. But saved by General Ghazali Chapman. Otherwise, I would have retired as a fisherman. Instead of wearing 4-star uniform. So the advice I would like to say is a good advice. If only people listen to this, you would do a lot better than today. The whole trouble with some people is that they're quite afraid to say no when they are right. There's the saying, you cannot beat the system, you join the system. That's what's happening today. You try to beat the system, you get into trouble. So the best thing is to join the system. That is what's happening today in this country.
Were you never tempted to join the system? Because I read in your book and you said that this system had trained you to have honor, to have integrity, but then you were being punished for being honest and forthright. Were you never tempted to go, what's the point? I'm being punished for doing precisely what you want me to do.
Yeah, I got to accept it. But I was happy to say that I stood my ground. You're right. What is wrong in telling your chief, sir, please don't buy this because it is not compatible. One year I was asked to buy something for the commandos. I said the equipment is not compatible for the commandos. They sent people to my office telling me, please buy this. I said, sorry, because they are no good. He asked me, what is your bank and bank account number? Upon hearing that, I called my adjutant, please show these 2 characters out of the camp. I got kicked out after 3 days. Anyway, I did what had to be done. They bought what was not compatible, but only threw them into the river. They spent millions there joining the system. You cannot beat the system. Okay, lagi.
I want to talk a bit about the fact that on 3rd March 1993, you were the Chief of Army, and then you became the Chief of Defense Force on 1st February 1994. What do you consider to be your greatest achievements during that period?
Oh my God. Well, during that short period of time, I managed to put a lot of things on papers. I also raised a lot of unit informations, blah, blah, during the period. I raised, for instance, the Army Management Institute, covering training management, men management, logistic management, telling people on management in the institute. I raised the Armed Forces Rapid Deployment Force, the RDF. I raised the Para Brigade, I managed to change from the Army Command, from the Core Headquarters to the Field Command, commanding both East and West Malaysia, Field Command. I managed to raise the Army Aviation Unit. I also built the home for the Commandos in Malaysia.
Isn't that the home with oysters?
Yes, but my recognition is for an area is full of oysters. I told the Sultan, late Sultan of Johor, that I found oysters in this area. He said, please don't tell people. Actually, oysters got pearls. So I didn't tell anybody until today. Sultan has passed away. I didn't tell the present Sultan. I only know it is somewhat 80 feet deep. So high tide 80 feet, low tide 60 feet deep. That's the area. It is between two islands. That's all I can tell you.
So you will be diving 60 feet every day to get oysters to eat.
I was diving for places to find the most suitable areas to build the commando camp. So I dive all this area where we can use for training. So I happened to discover the oysters in this area. The building of the camp that I can never forget was we found the area. I told the Sultan, I say, you go and ask for the land. I went to see the state secretary. I don't ask him, I say, order by Sultan, this area land is to be given the commando for camp. So are you sure the Sultan requested? I said, yes, you ring the Sultan. I didn't think he would dare ring the Sultan. So he got the land. He got the land, but we got no money to build the camp. How do we find money? I'm going to tell you how I found money. Only the present Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim can tell you how I managed to get the money. I managed to find 500 million for the armed forces, for the army, but I spent 300 million for Camp Iskandar.
Didn't you tell Anwar that the army loves you now? Don't wait for them to hate you.
Yeah. Just the gist of it. I told them, look, the army love you today, but don't wait until they hate you.
He must have been shocked.
I threatened him, actually. I was actually been court-martialed for threatening the finance minister.
I mean, you were actually threatened with court-martial when you were very young, right? By your superiors for speaking out. You were not afraid.
That was when I received a letter saying that the commander was to be disbanded. I went to Mendef, asked him, sir, why did you do this? We had an argument. One was said that you being an Englishman, what if there was going to be another confrontation? You tell me, what do we do? You don't ask for people like me to volunteer again. He was very angry. You being insolent. I'll court-martial you, blah, blah, blah. Upon hearing this argument, the army chief next door heard, bust open, what the hell is happening? Police officer, go to court-martial him. The army chief, come to my office. We had another explanation, another argument over there. Okay, sir. Don't argue with the city officer next time. Go back. So I went back. I waited for court-martial. There was no court-martial until I retired. But the letter to disband the commander was restricted back, cancelled. Otherwise, in 1967, the commander had been disbanded. There's no SSG to do the ARC. If not for this bloody man.
And what do you think now that you've retired? What do you think of the armed forces today? And is it moving in the direction that you would have wanted when you were chief of defense?
When I was serving, I always think that this is my job to have an armed forces, the army, which is the state of readiness to defend the country. The definition of state of readiness is a manpower and a state of manpower. Manpower meaning not just the armed forces, the army, how well trained are they, how is their morale, you're ready to go to war, ready to defend the country. Is the population motivated to defend the country? Answer that question.
Not too much.
Yeah. Are they trained to defend the country? They're not trained to defend the country. Unlike other countries, they have national service. Everybody served in the armed forces for a couple of years. And they do annual training. They're trained. They're motivated. But we are not. Plus, the state of equipment. What is the state of equipment today? You can see for yourself. It's worrisome. Plus, sustainment. How long can you sustain conflict when you have no defense industry in the country? Everything is important. So this is what worries me. When I was serving, this is the thing that I tried to do. Until today, things have not changed. Is the armed forces today in a state of readiness to defend the country? To ask yourself. Every citizen can answer those three things that I give the definition of what is state of readiness. Manpower, statement, statement plus sustenance. How long can you sustain? Another thing that worries me is talking about training in the armed forces, in particular the army. You spend 70% of your time to train because your job is not. Unless you train for war. When come war, you're not ready for it. Ask yourself, have you spent 70% of your time in peacetime to train for war? I used to ask young officers, whenever I meet them, what sort of officer study do you have this month? They can't answer. As an officer, how many books have you read to educate yourself? To be knowledgeable, you got to read. You're lazy to read, only looking at computer, looking at this, looking at that. Forget being a good officer. You got a message or not?
Yes. What is the most underrated skill as a great leader?
Well, to be a great leader, one who is concerned about well-being of your men, this is underrated. As for me, until today, I still look at those under my command. I used to visit the family. I wrote book, try to sell the book and make some money. This is meant for sick and lame comrades. There are a lot of sick and lame comrades. There are not very many left. Not very many leave 80. People ask me, how old are you? I say, I'm 38 years old. These people serve me. It is through them that I became what I was. And what I have whenever I receive the book that I wrote, spent for myself, but for the sick and lame comrades.
Do you feel like because you lost your parents so young, like when you were age 1, your dad, and then age 9, like your mom, do you feel that that shaped your character? Because you sound so independent even when you were so young.
Yeah, I was very independent. I was so independent even from the age of 9. I assisted my auntie in Clinton washing plates. After dinner, after lunch, I wash plates. I clean the house, swept the house from the age of 9. So when I joined the military college, this is nothing to me. I'm so independent right from young age. So unlike today, I see my granddaughter, who is at the age of 9, still mother feed her. What the hell is going on? Spoiling the child. I wash my own sock. I wash my own shoes when I was 9. I didn't know my father. I didn't even know what he looks like. There was no photograph taken.
What is your greatest regret?
I did not succeed in implementing the plan for the armed forces. When I left, I planned to form up the command structure, the Northern Command, Central Command, Southern Command, Eastern Command. So each command is given another rank higher. And it's another 5 people being promoted to Lieutenant General that I missed because I left. Although I asked to extend my service for 2 years, I said, sorry, sir, extension of service is not that good because people behind you hoping to get promoted don't get promoted. I lost 11 years of my seniority because people ahead of me extended 2 years, 1 year, and so on and so forth. So when I reached the time to be promoted, I got only 1 year left. So I want to extend, so and so behind me cannot be promoted. So because of that, I could not form this command structure. That's the only regret. I could not fulfill one area of my plan. The rest all done. Okay?
For any young person who's listening to this interview and they want to be a commando, do you have any advice for them?
My advice to give commando is that first, what is your aim in life? If you aim in life to make yourself better trained soldier, then join the commando. Otherwise, stay where you are. Don't join the commando. Commando will teach you extra. See what I mean or not? Physically and mentally. So we have got extra knowledge. Tell you have got maybe master's degree. The commando got PhD in battle. Okay? We are always better trained than the enemy today. So if you want to be a commando, that's the way to look at it. Firstly, secondly, is should be proud to be a member of an elite unit. People who join F1 Brigade, for instance, people look at you as F1 Brigade, elite unit. Commando is another elite unit. If you want to be a commando, you want to learn more, join the commando, okay? If you are satisfied with what you are, don't join. You're afraid to die young, don't join. You're afraid to jump from a aircraft, don't join, okay?
Okay. Tansri, thank you so much for your time. I want to end with 4 questions. The first one is this. Do you feel like having lived such an illustrious life that you have found your why or your purpose in life?
Oh my God. Why in life? I don't think I can answer this question. Maybe after dinner, or maybe during dinner, I can answer the question why.
No worries.
The only answer I can say is a why, because it's just, you just want to be a better man.
And what kind of legacy would you like to have left behind?
What legacy? Being a member of the elite group, Commandos, is the legacy that I think I left behind. I think the young officers looking at the legacy that I've left behind. Okay, be a better man, be a better soldier.
And better educated.
And of course, not only that, you got to be educated and self-educated. Otherwise, don't be an officer without knowledge. Forget about being an officer. Only with knowledge, you can give your men the kind of training you want. No knowledge, forget. There's the legacy I'm leaving behind.
Would you say that those are the most important qualities of a successful person or successful commando?
The most important quality of a successful person, first is a great leader. What a great leader? Good man. Integrity. People don't doubt in you. Integrity is something that is so lacking. People have doubt in you. You have doubt in the present government. If you have no doubt in the present government, then you are a great leader.